Hey, how's it going out there on YouTube? This is AG Surfer back with another vid. Again, I'm new to YouTube. Just started uploading some videos here in November, and I just wanted to show off a couple of my comic books, my CGC signature series. But before I do that, I'd like to go ahead and give a couple of shout outs to some great folks out there on YouTube. To my first 3 subscribers, I wanted to thank them. Thank Comic Quest, Mark's Place UK, and Tua Mua. I hopefully I didn't butcher the names that bad. Again, great folks, great vids, and a lot of good books out there. And then for all my comments on a couple of vids that I put out so far, I'd like to thank Rad Titan, Vulcanman 86, again Comic Quest, and Hero Hunter 81. Man, voice is pretty bad. Again, thanks to all the subscribers and the folks that view my vids, and for the folks that also view my vids and leave comments, thank you. Again, I'm new to this, so we'll see how it goes and go from there. All right, these are just again these are my first CGC comic books. My first 3 that I submitted, and this is actually my first Stan Lee. This is my first Stan Lee autograph, but this one I actually didn't submit. I purchased this book. Won it in an auction, and it is Amazing Spider-Man 252. See if this holds up all right. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 252. Of course, for all the folks out there collecting books, they know what this one's about. Spidey's first black outfit on the Amazing Spider-Man series. Yeah, graded 9.8, of course, obviously. Signed by Stan Lee. Get the glare out of there. Signed by Stan Lee. Really happy and really stoked to own this book. Again, this is my first Stan Lee signature that I purchased, and my first Stan Lee book. And then after I started talking with my buddy, they got me back into collecting. I'll put this one aside. After I got talking back with my buddy, we started going to conventions, and we know that Stan Lee was coming to town. He was getting close by, and then these would be my next 3 Stan Lee signatures. My next 3 Stan Lee signatures that I submitted. These were books that I submitted to get his autograph. We got Secret Wars number 8, graded at a 9.6. With this one, I got Stan Lee to autograph this one for me, and this was last year in 2013, and they have it at the Big Wow convention in San Jose. And the Stan Lee autograph came in a little wobbly. This is the first time meeting Stan Lee. I had him use like a colored pen, and you know, I didn't use bags and boards, or I didn't use bags and boards. You took the comics out of the bags and boards, you know, threw them down on the table to get the autograph. And Stan Lee was cool, but he's just signing, and you can't really have a conversation with him or nothing. And then one of Stan Lee's guys that are there is just slinging the books. You just getting his signature on it, and he's sliding them over across the table. So this book, I was fortunate it came back at 9.6, but with the next one, I'll get more into detail, because I had 3 books, and they're just getting signed and slung across the table, and I was pretty upset, you know. And of course, after this, then I realized I started looking at better opportunities, better ways to get the books signed, you know. And that's when watching some videos and come across folks using lever comics in a bag and board, and then just cut out the area that you want signature. That way there's less handling of the book, and you know, maybe less chance of it getting damaged when you're getting an autograph like that. So, but Stan was really cool, and I didn't have signature placement. I just said, hey, you know, sign down in here in blue or something, and he signs right over this area. But it's still cool. It came out a little smudgy because Stan Lee grabs the book and slings it. So my buddy says that could be some Stan Lee DNA up in there, which is pretty awesome. Stan Lee grabbed it, and you know, And then his other buddy, and then the guy, one of Stanley's, guys he's with, his entourage, grabs it again and throws it and bumps it into another one of my books that just got signed in blue ink, and that's the one coming up next, and I'll show you that. Just going on. And then I got this signed by Stanley in 2013, and then I cracked it back open again to get it signed by Michael Zeck earlier this year. Met Michael Zeck in Portland, and he's a very, very cool guy, very great artist. There's just so many great folks out there. So, alright. And we'll put this one aside. Go into that third book. And this was, I was pretty bummed about this one again, because the Amazing Spider-Man, the Secret Wars bumped into this book, and I can maybe show a little bit of that. Graded 8.0, SpiderMan 194. That's iPhone. Spidey 194, first appearance of Black Cat. I mean, I love this book. When I purchased it, they told me it was roughly a 9.0, and I believe it is, or at least was. It was a 9.0 until the other comic book got bumped into there. And as you can clearly see, actually there's the Stan, there's the Stanley. This one could be where Stanley actually may have grabbed this one also down there and, slinged it across the table to his buddy, and then his buddy slides him to the very end. So actually I could have two signatures with some Stanley DNA situation, which would be pretty funny. But I mean, this one still didn't come out. It's a little smudged, but it's still not horrible. But again, this book had a potential of hitting a 9.0, but because I think the ink, you see how the ink, when the comic bumped, adds more ink on the comic, that drops a grade. Still an awesome book. I don't know if I'll ever upgrade. I mean, I was still pretty bummed. I really kind of wanted a 9 or higher. But I know that, with the exception of the ink stuff, extra ink marks, it is pretty much, or was a 9.0. And let's see the back. This is where that gets me, because you can see right there, dude, that's just, I was so bent, there's the ink that's coming from off of like the Secret Wars number 8. It's on the back cover. I think that's what really dropped it, I guess I'm fortunate to get an 8, but this thing had the potential of being a 9 or higher. So, when you're going for Stanley autographs, just be aware of who's handling your books, and when you're doing multiple signatures with Stanley, it can be pretty tough to, so keep an eye on your comics, and make sure that you get your signatures where you want them, and especially if you're using color pens. But I totally recommend going for the, bags and boards. Use the cutout windows, and leave it in a bag and board for the less handling of the book. And for my last Stanley, this was the first time, excuse me, for my last Stanley book, I've got an X-Men issue number 10, and graded at 4.0, and it just, classic black, can't go wrong. This book I knew this book was banged up when I got this autograph, but for me this holds some sentimental value. I knew it wasn't going to get a high grade or nothing. I was feeling I might get a 5, so the fact it came back a 4, a little bummed, but I was still new to the game, much newer to the game than I am now as far as, CGCing, because these are my first 3 books I submitted to CGC. So I was trying to get an idea of how they grade, what they grade, and what they look for. But again, I was just really stoked with this book. It's one of my first, this was when I first started getting into collecting back in the 80s with my buddy and his younger brother, and I've got a younger brother. So all 4 of us were collecting books at the same time, and when we were growing up, using our paper out money, for folks who may or may not know what a paper out is, but using our paper out money and buying comic books, which was awesome. All 4 of us started collecting at the same time, and our first thing was X-Men. We just loved X-Men, and then from X-Men, of course, we knew everybody knew, we knew who SpiderMan was, but then we started getting into SpiderMan, but it all started with Marvel, and eventually most of my buddies are pretty much Marvel guys. but I got into I was hardcore Marvel too, but then I got into DC because of course I always loved Batman. Yeah, I grew up watching the Adam West stuff, and but you know, the Batman stuff just as good, and picking up a couple of DC comics here and there. Um, so Batman's one of my guys, and you know what? There's a lot of haters out there, but these dudes just won their first game. So the Raiders, man, we're not going to go like the Lions and go winless. So I'm really stoked. It was just a matter of, that's all I wanted. I just wanted one win. So, alright, enough of the football. Let's pan over here to some of my other little mishaps. Got a little Spidey with some of these wall plaques you can get like at Bed Bath & Beyond, I believe, have some of these. They seem to change them out every year. And then one of my favorite Batmans is Greg Capullo. You know, Batman figure. Dig that. Wouldn't mind meeting this guy again. Get an autograph on the box. So, running pretty high into this vid. Getting up on 12 minutes. So, don't like making too long of a vid. Let's see. Libby's Hawaii. Right on. I picked up one of these. I was really digging this, man. Action Comics. It's a cell. Found this at like found it like at a flea market or something. Yeah, it's pretty sharp. Didn't cost that much. I was like, I'll pick that up. That's Superman. Yeah, Action Comics #1. That's the only way I'm going to own one of those. So I ain't spending that kind of scratch. Then we come back over and I got this other SpiderMan, you know, wall art deal. Issue number 70. Kind of digging that. Alright, back down to my calendar for next year. Thor Jack Kirby on the front. And a lot of things I have, they're just gifts from my brothers and my wife, and you know, folks that know what I collect. So I'm really fortunate. I mean, I got a lot of stuff. I got so many things I got to catalog and go through. This was a gift from my brother years ago. Let's see what else. Yeah, 12 minutes in. I better get hustling. Again, X-Men number 10. And actually, it's a first Silver Age appearance of Kazar, Kevin Plunder, Zabu, and his Sabretooth, yeah, and the Savage Land. So, and this is just, to me, this is one of my favorites. Again, it's Jack Kirby. I mean, Stan Lee's story, Jack Kirby art, and Jack's the man. There's a lot of great artists out there, again, but Jack's one of the founding fathers, and I really dig his artwork, man. So, set that up there. Yeah, 13 minutes in, I think I just want to do a couple more books. Take these down. The next couple of books I have, they're just some of the recent pickups that my buddy hooked me up, and I got a couple of these recent pickups. Obviously, because since there's some movies coming out based on these characters, I'm like, I kind of wanted to jump on that and get a couple of these books. But you got Stan Lee. Can't go wrong. And these little pop figures, again, a lot of these are gifts. I did pick up that Stan Lee. I did pick up Mr. John Lennon. Got that bad boy in Vegas after checking out the Beatles show. Leonidas, I think that was a gift from my wife, along with the Batman. Sheldon, a gift from my brother. And Thor, I think, another gift. So cool stuff. Little Thor hammer. I'll come down here and show my next couple of books. I hope those don't move around. Yeah, Ant-Man number 48. I believe this is the second appearance of Scott Lang as new Ant-Man. Obviously it should be, because this is issue number 47. This is the first Scott Lang as the new Ant-Man, since that movie's more or less coming out with Paul Rudd, I believe, playing the Scott Lang part. So these are pretty decent condition. I want to say this, you know, they're probably, I like to think 8.5 or higher. This one's